Hello again. This episode of the Crafty Housewife Yarns YouTube and or podcast, depending on where you're listening to it, is also part of the Bizzy Crochet interview. For the full video, I will link that is on her channel. So I was just doing sort of topic highlights on mine because I thought we hit a bunch of good topics. So in this topic highlight, just for an introduction, she was asking me a lot about our small farm supplies, and not just with our bundles, but also kind of how we have recently, if you listen to previous podcast or video episodes, incorporated, sort of smushed the My Local Wool website. Like, we kept what was good from that and moved it to Crafty Housewife Yarns, which was the staff that was handling it anyway. But we're not just talking about My Local Wool. She also wanted to know about just sort of dealing with indie business and marketing of using the small farm, small business sort of supplies, which is, I think, what we're kind of most known for at this point in time. And that is, it's funny being asked about that because it's so much our bag and like what we do and what we always have done and what the staff does. And I mean, like I said, some of the staff are farmers. They are farmers and fiber artists in their own arena. So I kind of forget that that's not how most businesses are, because that's just like, that's always, we would not, when I say we, I mean, I've, like I said, of course, mean me and the staff, but they're just not here. You have to imagine them. But that's how that is how I have done business from the start, because those were the supplies I wanted to use. So that's what this section is on. So if you wanted to know more about sourcing for your own crafting from small farms and fiber artists, or if you are a small farmer fiber artist and would like more information on working with us, you can always hit me up. My email address is erin@craftyhousewifeyarns.com. If you are interested more of the if being on the My Local Wool section of our site, there's a form on the My Local Wool section of our site, or you can email Jennifer at outreach@craftyhousewifeyarns.com, and either one of us can help you with that. So anywho, that's what this section is on, and I hope you enjoy it. And it's definitely, I would say, the cornerstone of Crafty Housewife Yarns and what we have grown into and what the business has become and where I hope that the business will go. So something we're passionate about, and that I think makes this brand exciting and different from other brands. And I don't know, between me and you being the computer, I am writing a book, and it is not necessarily on indie business marketing, but it's not necessarily not about that either. So, I don't know, it's still, it's taking shape. So that's definitely something that if we were hanging out at Chick-fil-A, that I could talk your ears off about. I'm very, like, anybody that I'm friends with, whether or not, and you can ask all my friends, whether or not they're a real estate agent, like, starting out, or, I don't know, like, doing charcuterie boards. If you are starting out in any sort of an endeavor that way, I will absolutely bend your ears on, getting going and encouraging and marketing and all the things, because I love it. So this was definitely fun to be able to get into more of that, and that's definitely a direction that I think just this channel may go in a little bit more. Of course, still rooted in fiber arts, because that's what we are, but I just love the artist promotion aspect. So that's just that's my introduction. So here's the actual interview segment of that. You can of course find the full interview. I will link to Bizzy Crochet, who is the interviewer. Is still doing that, so like really nothing changed. We just smashed it into one. So you can now find My Local Wool as a section on the Crafty Housewife Yarns website, and we do have, it's our small farm sampler bundle, because subscriptions are kind of what we're known for. That was the one that was on My Local Wool, and we source from our group of farmers who have found us, or fiber artists. So if you are one of those people, contact me and we will put you on the list and contact you, where we buy wool from them, and then the staff divides it up and it goes out with business cards from the farmer to the subscribers, with the idea being that, I mean, you pay us for the box because like we have to buy the wool and do all the things and pay for the shipping, but the idea being, if you fall in love with like, oh, I love this Wensleydale, that you don't buy it from me, you go buy it from the farmer. So you have their contact information. So, you know, if you like your 1 ounce that you got for me, go buy a pound from them.
Right.
That's the idea there.
And that was another thing that I really liked about your website is that you've got subscription boxes, but you've got like subscription boxes from all over the place. I mean, it's not just I get this 1 box per month and it's going to be, you know, it's always going to have this basic format. Like you can really, if you're a spinner or, you know, a hand done yarn user, I know I'm saying that horribly, but hand spun, if you're into that kind of stuff and those are the things that you like to use, you've got a really nice variety of things available for people to get like a subscription box. Or do you do one-off boxes as well?
We don't do one-off boxes. The way our subscriptions are set up are the way my website worked. So it was that's how it's set up. So I definitely was not reinventing the wheel. You can subscribe or unsubscribe at any time, and we do actually have a lot of people that will like start out with 1 and then they have 2 and then they try this one so they cancel that. Well, you know, so we have people that, like I said, I recognize their names, that they move all over the place, and it's just my website. You can sign in and just do that yourself, or if you don't want to do that, you can email me and are like, hey, cancel that, and then I do it for you. So it's very like there's no contracts, you're not locked in. I mean, we've actually had on the rare occasion that somebody's like, you know, my wife passed away and this was her subscription, we've refunded people. So I mean, it's a super, I know I hate feeling like I'm signed up for something that then it's like you sign your life away on it. Like, I mean, we are definitely a small business at heart and in operation. So, I mean, we try to make it as easy as we can, but the subscription aspect of it allows for it to exist, because then that way we can plan for it. We know we can buy the right amount from the right people. So, you know, we really appreciate people signing up for the subscriptions because, like I said, that helps give us money to pay people from and buy the supplies and keep the ball rolling. But we have subscriptions for spinners. So a few different spinning fiber options, depending on if you want to do braids or bats or both. We have a few different yarn options, hand-dyed, hand spun, and then the biggest one that was actually, we were excited, it got written up in Business, God, I've completely spaced, Business Insider. That was
Insider?
It was randomly written up on Business Insider, and I had no clue, so it was like a Merry Christmas last year in the holiday season for best yarn subscription, like for gift giving for knitters or crocheters. And that was our, we called it the Cottage Yarn Bundle. And it is, my idea with that was I wanted it to be enough yarn, because I'd signed up for subscriptions in the past, naming no names, where you would get one yarn that was like great, and then it was like you had to buy more to make whatever the suggested pattern was, or you were just like, well, I got this one thing. So this one, you always get goodies. We just call them goodies. But stitch markers or accessories or bags or scissors. But they also come from small businesses. Dawn, that I know was on here.
I love Dawn.
So we get a lot of stuff from Twice Sheared Sheep. She was our original partnership with that. So you're supporting the accessory small business, the small business that the yarns come from, because we source from small, like family-owned mills, USA's First Yarn. And the key with it is we give you pattern suggestions for knitting and crochet. And you would go online, you know, and search the patterns that you wanted. Most of them are free. Some of them are paid patterns, but you know, that's between you and the designer. But the idea is that you have enough yarn to make the projects that we suggest.
Okay, so sure.
You don't have to like, well, now I have this, I have to go buy more yarn. So you've got enough yarn that you can make. So, you know, the bundle, you may get 3 smaller things of yarn. You may get 1 bigger thing of yarn, depending on, you know, what it was made out of, how much it cost, and what the projects are. So that is.
Well, and we had talked briefly before we started about patterns and your free knit kit.
Okay.
Can you tell us about that?
That's a fun story too. I do have on my website free patterns, and the ones written by me are probably better termed loose knitting suggestions. Because I do not claim, that's why they're free. I don't claim to be a professional pattern knitter by any stretch of the imagination. I am dyslexic, and so I'm doing good to write an email without typos. So luckily, some of the staff does help proofread my patterns, but I do have a lot of patterns as well as some of the staff's patterns that they actually are talented pattern designers. So theirs are on there too. So they're great for brainless knitting is what I call them, for mine anyhow. The other ones are more complicated patterns. But those are the free patterns. They started out as just for hand spun because nobody ever knows what to make with hand spun, which always confused me because I'm like, anything anything you make out of yarn, you can make out of hand spun. But that always seemed to throw people off. So we started that part of the website as like, you spun this yarn, so now you can make something out of it. So they're geared towards, we say hand spun, hand dyed, or unique yarns. So they are patterns that are great for that. They're free, so you just click on them. The free knit kit was, we fell in love, by we I mean the staff and I fell in love with Gallery Yarns, which is a great small yarn business out of New York State. And they had this fabulous yarn. It was called Asana Bulky. And when we found it, I was like, this yarn has the exact structure, look, and fabulousness of hand spun, but it's mill spun.
Oh, wow.
We were just sitting over there like dying over it, because if you're a spinner and you spin one skein of yarn and it's like a 2-ply bulky, and then you're like, well, this is great, but what am I going to do with it? And you need to be able to bulk buy like some solid colors to go with that one accent piece that you spun. Then you're left with, you owned a yarn shop, you've got this like thick, bulky textured hand spun, and then you've got all this like little wimpy, like it's not going to go together, or it will, but you'll have like this one heavy section. So we loved the Asana Bulky because it had the same structure and size and everything of hand spun. So we were just like losing our minds over it. And so I became friends with the owner, and I don't even remember how I did it. Somehow we ended up buying the entire, I don't even know how we did it. Somehow I managed to buy the entire world stock of Asana Bulky yarn.
That's hilarious.
Because we loved it so much. So now it's ours. We just love it. So we had all of this, and I wanted to make knit kits. So I have a knit kit that uses 3 skeins of the Asana Bulky, which is like I said, it's got the texture of hand spun. It's a combination of wool and alpaca. It's the best. And I wanted it to be sort of an introduction to either new knitters or knitters that just had only knit with really like basic yarn. So like kind of pushing the envelope on people. So I thought that it would be fun for an exchange of, of course, like I said, I'm a marketer, getting people to be aware that we existed as a small business and be on our email list and get our patterns and be excited about the stuff we were excited about, that you could sign up to get this free knit kit. And you do have to cover shipping because I'm not made of money. But besides the shipping, you do get 3 skeins of free yarn. And we have the pattern, which I even got proofread, and I'm told it's very lovely. I should have brought it for you, but it's a sampler shawl. So it goes over the knit stitch, purl, eyelets, and garter stitch. So what I felt would give a new knitter or somebody that was just starting out, like kind of a sampler, like an idea of how to do those different stitches, but then it's just repeated throughout a shawl, so then you get it down. So that was my
that's a really generous box.
Well, no, I'm very excited about it, and it is, so depending on when you see this, as supplies last, we do still have the world's biggest supply of Asana Bulkies. I think you could maybe stumble across it if somebody had it in a yarn shop, left over, but you can also purchase it just like regular. You don't have to get it as part of a kit, because we do have people do that. They get the kit, they love it, and then they buy more. We've got it listed just for sale. And so that's the free knit kit. But I also have lots of free ebooks and all sorts of stuff. So